Hi everyone, Ryan here from GWM Geneva. You probably hear me talking about certain subject headings throughout my videos. On one side I talk about tax efficiency, and on the other side I talk a lot about international planning. With tax efficiency, what I mean is not tax-free. What I mean by tax efficiency is that if you think about, every country has its own tax regime. Every country has its own tax regime in terms of how they tax income, how they tax capital gains, how they tax dividends, how they tax inheritance, and vice versa. But on the other side to that, you also have financial instruments, and each financial instrument has its own tax regime. So for example, you have investment platforms, you have pensions, you have banks, you have life insurance companies, you have offshore investment bonds and offshore investment savings vehicles. And each of these are taxed and treated in a different way depending on the country you live in. So what I mean by tax efficiency is that it's really important that, depending on where you're planning to retire, that you have a good idea as to how these vehicles are structured depending on where you're planning to retire. And those are the kind of areas that I make sure that you understand how these things work. And of course we have professional partnerships whereby I would recommend an accountant or someone who's a specialist in tax to make sure you're doing your reporting correctly as well. On the second side, we talk about international planning. Now, international planning is the same as offshore planning. Yeah? Offshore planning seems to have negative connotations to the word, but it's essentially really important for people who, if you are living in a country, you're resident in a country, but you're not a citizen in that country, you don't have a passport for that country, and you may be planning to leave that country and retire elsewhere, then of course that cross-border offshore international planning is really important for you, because it has enhanced tax benefits, it has portability, it has a bit more flexibility to be moved around depending on where you're planning to be at retirement. If you'd like to know more on these subjects, or you'd like me to be a bit more detailed on these subjects, then please feel free to click on the link below to book a meeting, or you can message me directly. Thank you.